Hello, welcome back. Yeah, as promised, part 2 of it was an amazing record hall at the Duisburg Record Fair, and now we get into the second part, which is a little less krautrocky still a bit, but way more on the rock and prog rock side of things. And let's just continue where we ended with part 1. And I found a record, a German first pressing. I couldn't resist to get, because now I can compare it. What I have here is a very first pressing of Asia, Steely Dan. And yeah, I just want to get into this for myself and compare it to the brilliant UHQR Steely Dan Asia. And see if I will confirm that the UHQR is by far the best version. So now I can get a little bit deeper into that with the German first pressing. Now, the next 2 records are first British pressings. What I have here is the iconic King Crimson In the Wake of Poseidon, with this wonderful iconic jacket in this gatefold. Here we have the original inner sleeve. This is a wonderful jacket. It's beautifully textured. I can imagine a lot of you already know. And again, on this wonderful label. Happy to have this now as a British first pressing, as I have the German too. Oops, I now can do a nice comparison when the time is right, and when I have the time. Right now I don't have time, as we ship records after record, and I just take a break and do this video because I want to put it out as promised. And also as a big thank you for all your wonderful comments. Really appreciate it. I read every one of them, and it's so nice and beautiful to see how you share my enthusiasm in the very most cases when it comes to these amazing records. Another first British pressing, and that was exciting to get, because it's in an amazing shape, and again one of the jackets almost of all time. What we have here is Led Zeppelin 3, first British pressing. Look at this. Wonderful. Condition is top notch. And yeah, it's on the Atlantic label. So yeah, let's hope. Here you can see again in a pristine condition. Yeah, there's not much. I don't need to say much about this record. I can imagine. Wonderful. And finally I have a British original, an UK original on the Atlantic label. Wonderful. So happy to have this one. The next one is, yeah, but when it comes to rock, prog rock, maybe my favorite label, at least now. Might change someday, but for now it is on the Vertigo label. I here have the German first pressing of this jazzy rock fusion album, Affinity. This is a killer album. I love this album, and again, nice condition. Can't wait to get into this one. Affinity on the Vertigo label. Highly recommended album. If you haven't get into it, give it a chance. Wonderful jacket, wonderful cover art. Beautiful. Really beautiful. Yeah, and now for the next 2 albums, we get a little back to the krautrock realm, and a band It's not forgotten, but not as much talked about as Neu, Can, Ashra Temple, but still a wonderful, wonderful band. Cran. What I have here are the first two albums of Cran, German first pressings. They are not cheap, but not as expensive as a lot of those, and they are on the wonderful, beautiful, look at this label, the Spiegelei label. Such a cool, wonderful label. I so love it. And what's also quite interesting and worth mentioning nowadays, pressed at Palace here in Germany. Cool album, cool album. First album and second album, or vice versa. I have to look it up. Again on the Spiegelei, which means fried eggs, a label. Cran, another gatefold. Highly recommended if you're into krautrock, and if you haven't gotten into them by now, give it a chance. It's more on the rockier fusion side of things. It's not so far out there. Amazing. Really, really nice listening. Really big, big pleasure. Again, now a little krautrock. Quite interesting. Quite interesting album. Not so expensive, though extremely rare, but not so popular, I can imagine. It's again on this wonderful Brain Metronome label, and it's called Vollbedienung of Percussion. Very eccentric record. It's drumming. They do drumming. Vollbedienung means something like full service, by the way, and an interesting album, second to none. I can imagine. Again, here you have, by the way, you have this cut out stamp. Interesting album, not a must-have, but if you want to get really deep into krautrock, this might be something for you. Very unusual, as it is only drumming. Back now to the Vertigo label. I bought some Gentle Giants again. UK first pressing of... okay, no, wait. This is important. First album of Gentle Giant. Okay, wonderful, wonderful jacket. Here you have the inner of this gatefold. And here you have an original inner sleeve. And what's now important is, this is officially not a first pressing, because at the very first pressing, the Vertigo, this part here, is beneath the spindle hole. That means this is a very, very shortly after the release, a repress. But, and we had quite some discussions with Dave Parsons at the OBC about these things. We are probably talking few months here. And the price difference is quite big. So, I still bought it because it's quite way cheaper than the very, very first pressing. And in case I find a very first pressing, I can do a comparison, because I think that might be really, really interesting. If this is only, which is of course important, but only a collectability thing, like for example when it comes to the Black Sabbath, the management credit, or is there a difference? Or even maybe one is better than the other? So that will be quite interesting. I cannot imagine that there is a difference. I just cannot. But we will see. So now I have this repress, and yeah, we will see. Whenever I find a very first pressing, I will get it and talk about it. I got another Vertigo Gentle Giant, 3 Friends. Again, a UK first pressing of this album. the jackets, the cover art of Gentle Giant are quite worth mentioning and amazing. Again, with an original inner sleeve. So you can see, I've learned that from Dave Parson, you have the date of the record of the when the jacket, when the inner sleeve was made. It's made in England in April the 1st, 1970. So this is also a quite interesting fact. So in many cases you can check if it's really the inner sleeve that belongs to the record. And then I found something that really made my heart jump, because I love this record. I had a British first pressing, I had a German first pressing. I sold the German first pressing at the OBC. The British first pressing is more expensive than the German one, but I did a comparison, and the German one I do liked more than the British first pressing. And so I said, why haven't you kept it? But hey, so that's life. But I found another German first pressing, finally, after 1.5 years, I don't know, a year. And yeah, here it is, another German pressing. So I'm back on track when it comes to the Jade Warrior Vertigo edition. Wonderful, wonderful, brilliant rock album. Fantastic. So now I have it again. Still with the Vertigo. And again, an iconic jacket. I have a sample copy of Warhorse Vertigo. I show you the inner of the gatefold. And I show you that is a sample copy. Here you can see it. See, not for sale. Look at the condition. Again, all of those are pristine, as it should be. Yeah, Warhorse, iconic band. Like them more and more and more. And then again, something very special, Blind Buy. I didn't know this record, I will get into them, but when I saw the musicians that are involved, and they are not that expensive, Möbius and Planck Material. On the Sky label, Sky is another label that also puts out a lot of crowd records. Here you can see the Sky label. And yeah, can't wait to listen to this. I mean, Möbius, Conny Planck, done over at the Conny Planck studio in July 1981. Can't wait to get into that. Amazing. The combination Möbius and Planck, stunning. And the second one, Rasterkrautplaste. The second one we have here. And what's also amazing, same musicians plus Holger Czukay from Cran on bass. Möbius also did this jacket, and yeah, Sky label, wonderful, wonderful find. Although, as I said, they are not this expensive, but I haven't seen those records around. So, of course I got them, Blind Buy, no doubt. I took them immediately. Yeah, and then I got two records I've shown quite often, but whenever I see a complete, beautiful, almost like new copy of Computerwelt, German first pressing, and Trans-Europa Express from Kraftwerk. I mean, look at the jacket, this looks like new. This looks like new. And very important, it also, I always have to, it has to have it, it has the correct inner sleeve. When it comes to the Trans-Europa Express, really look for it. And it has the poster, very important. And this looks untouched. The poster looks untouched. And of course, although I have those, but when I see them, I get them. Also those more familiar editions of Kraftwerk in a really, really, really good condition, you see them less and less and less, and the prices also on the fairs, they really have risen. You have to pay more for them nowadays than I did half a year ago, 1 year ago. Those copies, when they are in extremely good shape,